We are live on Facebook also, sir. Ajit ji, you can put on video. Yeah. So we are just waiting for the chief guest. He said he will join in 5 minutes before 11 actually, but I don't know, maybe I'll call him. Hello? Hello? Yeah. So he's also joining, chief guest. Sir, request you to, yeah, welcome, sir.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome to Niranjan Hiranandani ji,
Thank you.
President NAREDCO, and today's chief guest. We welcome you all, sir. And we'll just take 1 minute to formally start. Others are also joining. Meanwhile, I would like to introduce, we are joined by the President APGC, UP, Ajit Faujidar. Yeah, and we are joined by President FACIET and P Tamil Nadu, E.K. Raghavan, and so Namaskar. We are also joined by President Force Kerala, Anil Joseph. So he's also there. And we are joined by many senior engineers like Madhya Pradesh. I request all participants to mute their...
and senior most Mr. Chalpati Rao is also there. So
yeah, Sir Chalpati Rao, sir, is the president of TREDA, and he's also president-elect for NAREDCO. We are joined by him, and many others are also joining, sir. So welcome you all for this today's webinar. We have Raghunandan, who is a past vice president of Association of Consulting Civil Engineers and very active in our open forum. We are joined by Engineer Deepak Shaji, who is coordinating Madhya Pradesh Engineers Associations. Deepak Shaji, can you hear? Yeah. So welcome, and we are joined by Raju Gogiaji. He is convener of this open forum from Delhi, and we have also the Civil Engineer Council of Engineers and Valuers from Punjab. The president of CEVI also is with us. You can start the video, sir, and I'm requesting all the participants to mute their audios because we are getting echo. Rajvinder Singh ji, welcome. He is the president of CEVI, Council of Engineers and Valuers all over India. And so we would, without losing much of time, while others might be joining, we will start our meeting today. So I welcome our chief guest today, Niranjan Hiranandani ji, who is also president of NAREDCO. In fact, he doesn't need introduction. Hiranandani itself, they are pioneers in
Yes.
development in India and Mumbai. The most popular Hiranandani Park is promoted by them. And I had the opportunity to interact with Niranjanji in Mumbai in the World Seismic Safety Initiative. I don't know if he remembers, maybe about 15 years back. And it was organized by Ambuja Cements. And so I was there. I had an opportunity to interact closely with Niranjanji. His commitment and interest in engineering and the process is very high. Actually, I had close interaction. So I welcome you, sir. And for the benefit of engineering fraternity, I request you to join this webinar. For your information, we are conducting this webinar every Sunday for last 5 weeks. Actually, this is the fifth in the series, and we are really obliged and thankful to you for accepting our invitation. And we also are joined by President Treda and President-elect of NAREDCO, Sri Chalpatrauji, Raidu Chalpatrauji. In fact, he is the one who introduced Niranjanji to this forum. And we welcome Chalpatrau Garu also for this gathering, sir. And so I will briefly explain the purpose of our meeting. Actually, we are all aware there was a Supreme Court judgment on March 17th clarifying that the Architects Act defines only protects the title. And so there have been many litigations in the courts, high courts across the country about this Architects Act being misrepresented or so that is clarified now. So we want to bring in awareness about this Architects Act across the stakeholders, whether it is developers, infrastructure or government agencies and lawmakers, and also the need for Engineers Act, because it is almost more than 73 years we have got independence, and engineers are not recognized by any act of parliament in our country, except for statutes like AICTE or National Building Code or Institution of Engineers, which was formed before independence. And there is no recognition for the Royal Charter Act, and so there is a need for enacting the Engineers Bill in our country. So in this, and also of late, in the process of ease of doing business and citizen-friendly bylaws, the governments in different states are trying to incorporate bylaws such that there is no need for engineers to sign or certify the constructions below 500 square meters, which is not good for the built environment, for its safety and economy of the construction. So these three main issues we are taking up every Sunday and discussing with all the stakeholders. And today we are joined by NAREDCO President and TREDA President. So I first request guest of honor Chalpatrauji to address the gathering.
Good morning, all. I will be very brief. I am thankful to Surya Prakash because he is doing such a wonderful job for all the engineers in the country. The first thing I want to point out is, of course, engineers, particularly architects, they have very important, prominent place in the nation building, particularly in the construction. So developers as such, we are, of course, very, very important as a promoters and developers, but your attachment to the buildings or the works is much more than the developer. Developer constructs and goes after he sells. But whereas you have to be there as long as the structure is there. So such a prominent job we are doing. And of course, many of the projects are known by the architects. Like nowadays in film industry also, the director is more important than producer. So you are more like a director for all the buildings. So such an important thing. That's why in brochures also, it's very much advertised who is the architect and who are the engineers, etc., etc. So first and foremost thing I want to point out is about the job of being a principal contractor. So the developer is made as a principal contractor. Even though it may sound good for the architects and engineers that the responsibility is on the head of the principal contractor, it is not good in the long run, in the sense that, everybody who does the job, he should owe the job. So I agree with your effort that there should be an engineering act, there should be architects act or whatever you call it, and they should own the responsibility for whatever important part they are playing in. Number two is I want to say about the requirement of the digitization of all the works. So in this industry, it is also important that most of the job of all the engineers and architects, wherever possible, should be digitized so that the time requirement is reduced, particularly the ERA certification and all. It should not be such an issue for anybody to give the certificate, because it is done by you and it is monitored by your people. There should not be any delay. It should be automatic issuance of the certificates, etc. So I request that you digitize to the extent possible all this engineering activity and architectural activity. Number three, I would like to talk about is we have the shortage of labor nowadays. So on the one hand, we need to have the technology enhancement and improvements. On the other hand, there is much less consolidation, particularly of the tools and equipments that are available for doing the finishing job. For example, we see that in masonry, there are some machinery that has come. In plastering, some machinery has come. In tile sealing, some machinery has come. But they are not particularly certified by anybody. Only the sellers come and do it. And our workers, they are reluctant to use such machines in initial period, because initially there may be some less productivity compared to what they are doing in the normal course. So there is a lot of requirement to assess, popularize, and bring in place these tools and equipment, particularly for doing the finishing job. And of course, the smart steel usage also, you may recommend to all the people to save time and effort in these sites. So I leave the major part to my senior, Mr. Dr. Niranjan Hirnandi. He is into so many businesses. So I would like him to address most of the issues. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Thank you, Surya Prakash, and everyone there. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a
Sir.
good day.
Now I welcome and request our chief guest, Niranjan Hiranandani ji, to address the gathering.
Very good morning to all of you, and heartiest congratulations, Mr. Surya Prakash, Mr. Chalpati Rao, and the entire team of engineers to actually bring about a webinar in which we can interact in terms of understanding each other and see what is it that we can really use this COVID times where we are locked down to actually make the paradigm happen. I think the first and most important thing which you have flagged off is the statutory issues that are important. Statutory in the sense that we want an Engineers Act which actually gives us responsibility, but at the same time you must remember that you will be taking a liability on the issue also, and we need to see that the act becomes balanced between the two, where we do take the responsibility which all professions take. So whether they are doctors, whether they are architects, whether they are engineers, or the lawyers, where the Bar Council of India's Act is there, there is a responsibility in terms of a positive role for engineers, and there is a liability which we really need to do. So I think what we really need to do is probably create a skeleton which would give us a balance between the two. So instead of just proposing an act that we need to do, we need to actually draft an act, looking into what international best practices have been followed, and also the fact that we really need to understand what the liability will be. So the balance between the two is really the thing on the statutory side that we need to do. Number two, which I think is very important, and I think Mr. Chalpati Rao mentioned it, you also mentioned it, sir. The point was very simple. What is the extent to which engineers can take up the responsibility of sanction of building plans. It is my belief that on the ease of doing business, I would like to represent to the Prime Minister, to the government in terms of the Housing Ministry, in order to create a model permission law where we will sanction the building plans. And there will be audit or test approvals to be done by the departments rather than approvals going in through the approval stage of the thing. So this is my desire, that in the engineers together should get together and say, we will take the responsibility of doing it, and we will fit into the rules and regulations that the plans that we are submitting after we doing it, we don't need an approval from them, but they can do a test check and come back to us if there is any variation that is required. Within 30, 60 days, the government or the department can verify it. So I think that is the second thing, which I think is going to work because of the ease of doing business is something which the Prime Minister is very keen to achieve. And I think it will be a good thing if the engineers can take up this role and responsibility into the whole the issues. The third thing, which I think is extremely important, is the quality of people. Before I get into quality, I just want to share with you, my friends, and I don't know whether you're aware, but more than 50% of the politicians in China are engineers. Hence, the entire scope of infrastructure in China is amongst the most focused on by the governments to be. Because you have an engineering fraternity which really governs the country as such. Now, I don't know how many engineers have got into politics, and maybe many of you should get into politicians or at least be able to influence the polity that be. But it is extremely important to understand that we have a huge backlog of infrastructure in India. And this focus is really something which I think the engineering fraternity needs to focus upon. Thanks to a good minister like Mr. Gadkari, national highways, we now are doing 35 kilometers of national highway per day, but there are lots of other infrastructure that we can do. This will broaden the scope of engineering requirement and also push the GDP of the country into the next stage. My view is that any country, whether it was China, whether it was America, Europe, all these countries did double-digit growth at the time when they did infrastructure of roads, highways, buildings, and other things. So it's the duty of the engineering fraternity to collate this data and actually show it to the government that of the role that the engineering fraternity can play for the purposes of doing this change. The next important thing I do believe is the quality of work. We do excellent designs in terms of it, and I think our engineers are probably world-class in terms of design engineering. And this is something complementary. Of course, we can always do better, and there are stages of work where we will do even better than what we are doing today. But we are very good in terms of design, and this is my belief. But in terms of execution capability and supervision, our engineering fraternity has not been found to be as good. And I think that's a region which we need to actually interrogate. Of course, we blame the contractors. Of course, we blame the system. Of course, we blame the L1 system of tendering, which is actually causing all these difficulties which get multiplied into the whole thing. But we cannot have this problem continue. You know, it is something which is there. I want to share a short story about an Indian contractor, which I'm talking a story of course, 25 years ago. It was a long time back, but it's worth hearing. The story goes like this. There was an Indian contractor who went into the Middle East and used the influence of a Sheikh's family member to get a contract for a particular road or some infrastructure project. He compromised on the quality of the road. And in the process of that, when he compromised the quality of the work, he was actually got arrested. When he got arrested, he contacted the person to whom he had paid a bribe to get the contract. And he said, now please save me from the situation. The person said, nothing doing. The bribe was to get the contract, but we don't compromise in UAE on the quality of the work that it did. Today, if you go to the UAE, there is no compromise on a single building, single road, single project, whether it's a stormwater drain to airports to high quality or less quality. There is no compromise on that. It is there that I think the engineering fraternity can also flag off a lot of issues. I don't expect that you will have the final solutions in your hand. Yes, I do understand that. But we do need to flag off the compromises that we are making in terms of quality and supervision, which I think needs to be more focused on. Because at the end of the day, if you expect a doctor in order to look after your health and make you all right and never make a mistake, why is it that the engineers can compromise and get away with it because they have made a road or they have made a building or they have made something else and be compromised on it? Would you like your doctor to compromise on your health and treatment when you go to a doctor? Why should the engineers as a professional be any different than that? So I think somewhere down the line, we need to flag this off into the situation that we are, and we can make a difference. The last one is the most important, and that is the pride of your profession. And I think what you need to do is to actually flag off good quality work, good design work, and other things. And just like you have awards, so many awards for Bollywood, so many awards for various things, I think a good focus needs to be done of giving awards to engineering projects and even on other projects which are well engineered, whether they are well engineered in terms of design, whether they are well engineered in terms of quality of work, or it is endurability, sustainability, environmental friendly kind of projects. Like we have so many sustainable projects that we are doing. We are also platinum rated in many of the projects that we have built and ways to do. Long and short, we need to restore the pride of engineering fraternity. It's only when the pride is restored, when we say that I am an engineer and people will look up to you. Similar to that, if you are a doctor, people will say, oh, he saves lives. Similarly, we need to have the same pride in the engineering fraternity, similar to what you have in any other professional work that we do. Yes, it's going to be difficult to make the paradigm, but if you start with the first step, I'm sure that we will be able to do. So I think I have shared a lot. I must congratulate each and every one of you, especially Mr. Surya Prakash and all the other people who have got over here today. Thank you, Mr. Chalpati Rao. He's been a friend, philosopher, and guide to me also in many of the aspects of work, and a good friend of all. Many of you I have seen in certain places, though I don't recall where I have met. A couple of faces look familiar. So I'm really happy to be here with this morning and share with you this platform on, even if it's on webinar, I think it's a good thing that we do. I do believe that the pride of looking at the picture of Vishwacharya is something that I admire, and we must continue to do so, because I want the admiration for the engineer to come back. You'll be shocked that in China, an engineer is looked upon as almost a demigod, because it's considered to be a very superior human being. He's almost equivalent to a doctor or a scientist and other physicists. So that type of respect should be adjoined to the engineering fraternity also. Somehow or the other, we haven't been able to do it in the past, but that doesn't mean that we cannot do it in the future. When I go to America and I talk to people about Indian engineers, you know what they say? My God, your engineers coming from India have such sharp brains and they do such great work. In the IT and the other spaces, when you have a large number of people work in Microsoft, they even work in NASA. One of my colleagues in school over there is part of the president's team on aeronautics and space research on the body. So the world over recognizes the brains of the Indian engineer. Why is it that the environment of India does not give the same prestige and pride to the Indian engineer, which he well deserves, and he has the brains to do so. What is it that is missing in terms of it? We do need to debate this, but actually we don't need to debate too much because we already know what we need to do. It is not that anything is a secret and that we are not aware. So what we really need to do is to take the first step in improvement in this direction. I promise you that NAREDCO will be on the forefront in anything that you want with the government. We have certainly good relationships with the ministry at this point of time. If you can give us a draft of the act that you want to bring, I'm 100% sure that with a little effort, we will be able to get it approved. And I look forward to whatever cooperation that I can give you in personal capacity or in terms of NAREDCO or in terms of ASSOCHAM, where I am a president at this point of time, and various other forums that we are working together. And of course, you have a good man in Mr. Chalpati Rao, who would also be able to guide us in this direction to do it. And all the other presidents that I see here this morning, my heartiest congratulations to all of you to get together in order to take up this new idea, in order to make the pride of engineers come back into India in the same way that there is any other profession that we have. So heartiest good wishes, all engineers this morning. Mr. Surya Prakash, your mic is off. I can't
Yes,
see.
you have to unmute Mr. Surya Prakash.
Mr. Surya
Yes.
Prakash, you have to unmute
Thank
your
you.
mic.
Thank you. In fact, I didn't want to disturb you, so I put mute. Thank you very much, sir, for reassuring words for the engineering fraternity. We are joined by President ICI, Vinay Gupta ji, Engineer Vinay Gupta ji. He is in the panel. And we are also joined by President IAS Trustee, Alok Baumikjint, Pre-Engineered Structure Society of India, T.A. Prasad. So these are the, people I could see in the many more might be there. Any questions, sir? Alok ji?
Are you asking me? Hello?
Yes,
Yeah.
Alok. Yeah.
Yeah. Very good morning to all. Actually, due to some technical glitch, I joined little late, and I honestly I didn't have the fortune to listen fully to Hiranandani ji, but I only listened to the last part of his
Okay.
picture, and that itself was very encouraging. He assured us of all help and support, and that is what we need. What I see basically, as civil engineers, I see a much bigger role of our fraternity in future. Basically, the civil engineers role is a leadership role, and somehow or the other, the society is not really recognizing this. We are not basically in the limelight. This is not a glorified profession, unfortunately, though, as Mr. Hiranandani ji very rightly mentioned, that whenever we work overseas, we are appreciated. But somehow in India, we are not really in the limelight. What I see for us in future is that we need to take a leadership role. We are the planners, we are the designers, we are the constructors of the built environment. We are the stewards of the environment. Climate change, call it climate change or call it, the sustainability development goals. If you see the 17 sustainability development goals of the United Nations, for which India is committed, 2030 as the goal, I think civil and structural engineers have a major role to play, at least in 5 or 6 of those SDGs. And what we need is empowerment. And I think engineers bill is the way forward to empower us so that we can, fulfill those aspirations of the society for us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, do you want to react to it, Niranjanji or Chalpatrao ji?
No, I think I think it's very right. The idea is basically to work up a consensus. Once you have a consensus, then you need to get a group of people, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 of you, to prepare work on a draft. And the second, a mission statement as to what you want to achieve. So you have two. One is the legislative intent that you have, which is, you mentioned about the architects, I mean, the Engineering Act or such. So that could be one role that you can start working on. And the other is actually a kind of an ambition that you want to achieve. So like the Prime Minister said, I want housing for all or affordable housing for all. And we focused on that and we tried to get that vision off the ground, which is moving very, very well. Almost 65,000 crores of rupees has already been invested by Government of India in the interest subvention schemes of the Housing for All scheme. So similarly, if our engineering group could work out and say, oh, look, this is what we want on the statutory side. This is what we want from engineers in the ease of doing business. This is what we want to do on quality control. This is what we want to do in terms of improving whatever it is that we want to say. Then the government also will become very proactive because they will see that you are actually wanting to assist them in order to achieve the objectives of the Prime Minister. So for example, Mr. Gadkari is very keen on the road issues. So if somebody could give him some ideas on how we can actually reduce the cost of roads, improve the quality of the roads, live the life span of the roads, use materials which are sustainable, which he did. For instance, plastic is to be included in the thing, which is kind of doing waste material in terms of waste to be converted into various other products. If some sort of engineering study and background study in terms of replacement of other materials can be done, and things like that. So what will happen is then the engineering fraternity, along with making demands, will also make a commitment to the government that they want to do this for it. And I'm sure that a proactive minister like Mr. Hardeep Puri or Mr. Gadkari would be absolutely delighted to actually receive such a assistance from the engineering fraternity. And as I told you earlier, sir, and I hold myself to it, we will certainly assist you in order to take these papers forward to the government. There will be no difficulty whatsoever. In fact, they would be very happy, I'm sure, if we can actually assign ourselves this kind of a role. And you can take up this leadership with this group of engineers that you have. And if there's any other groups that you would like to get together, I can speak to many of the other people also. And we'll do it, whether it's NAREDCO, whether it's CREDAI, whether it's ASSOCHAM, whether it's CII, it doesn't matter because it's a national purpose and we will all join hands. And since Prime Minister also wants Atmanirbhar Bharat, there is, I think, bigger opportunity for the engineers to do more work in India and have that opportunity to grow. So yes, I think it's a good idea. Let's go ahead.
Thank you, sir. I request Vinay Gupta ji. Unmute, sir. Yeah.
Yes, good morning, everybody. I could hear about 3/4 of Shri Hiranandani's lecture because before that I also had a bit of a glitch entering this group, but never mind. It was very pioneering, very encouraging, very thought-provoking, I must say, and that gives us confidence, definitely, that we can do something. I would only sum up in saying that, look, engineer builds the world. Civil engineer builds the foundation. Mechanical engineer builds the systems. Electrical engineer puts energy into it. Chemical engineer puts flow into the whole system. And the computer engineer puts a program into the system. It's all engineers, engineers, and engineers. In fact, in Mr. Nitin Gadkari's words in Jaipur in 2016, if I'm not wrong about the year, he said that it is you engineers who work. He spoke that among about 350 of us. It is I don't work. I only pass orders. It is you engineers who work. And therefore, if there's an accident at site, let's say it's a construction of a bridge or something, the engineer should not be hauled up for it, unless it turns out that it was a willful default of the engineer, which normally does not happen. So we will support you and things like that. So regarding your accident thing that you said, Hiranandani. On the other hand, I can tell you that in certain projects, which are mainly metro projects and flyover projects, we engage architects as our associates. Those projects run because of engineers, civil engineers like us, but architects are also secondarily there and they're our associates. So, and therefore we hold the main responsibility. So I think if we look at any tall structure, I mean, I think if we talk of Hiranandani Towers or whatever, tall structure with 20, 30 stories, the starting point of the planning of the structure, apart from the outer form, then is a structure first. Architecture comes later. You have to decide where all you can have columns, what kind of columns, what kind of shear walls, what systems are feasible, what flat plate, etc. If you put pre-stress, non-pre-stress, being the seismic zone, they are the first one to decide. Then the architect has to play around it. So I'm not demeaning the architect, but I need to say that it is extremely important to have the structure engineer in front. So these are my some suggestions, and of course your presentation was very good. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Ajit Faujidaji, President APGC.
Good morning, sir. A very thought-provoking deliberation from your side. And coincidentally, I would like to share that Mr. Hiranandani is, as a professional chartered accountant, member of Chartered Accountant Institute also, as I was going through his background. Sir, a very small request from our side, for all the platforms you have mentioned, not to take much of your time. Normally, in a very high-tech kind of building projects, we are having all agreements in place. But normally in B-type, C-type town and all, whenever builders or developers are going in with agreement with maybe either of us, architect or engineer, why don't they or we declare our team officially on that day that these are the persons responsible for the structural stability or structural designing of the building. This is my team responsible for the entire MEP. This is the person responsible for landscape, road construction, drainage, blah, 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 electricals and whatsoever. Normally what is seen, as you said, we need to gain our statute. But for gaining something, we need to be into the limelight. We need to be projected. Whosoever is there, my fraternity or the other fraternity, they need to be into the limelight. What normally we do, suppose we are having some architect in our team, normally we are attending the meetings, we are projecting the things, and we keep on rotating the background team as per our vision will or as per our comfort level. That shouldn't be there. When government is, when we go for some kind of empanelment or registration, nowadays government authorities are so much proactive. They are checking with those institutions that is he your registered member or bona fide member and his membership is continued on date. Why not projects of crores and crores of rupees, builders do such kind of exercise? When we go in for some kind of meeting or some kind of deliberation for the projects, that entire team should be introduced, that entire team should be there into the black and white and should be held responsible. We are asking for the just for the sake of it. We need to become more responsible, more proactive towards our work. You might have not till date heard of some fraternity coming up. Okay, hold us. We are on date below the radar. And definitely we are below the radar as on date. So we need to be accounted for, and that kind of system, if at all plays through the apex body of builders and developers, that will prevail, and that will create a very healthy environment for a joint working. I was attending a webinar, Mr. Surya Prakash was also there, about dynamic buildings. You are very close to all these things. I don't know why in this place, in my country only, there is always a rat race kind of thing, this architect, engineer. Normally, the projects are developed as a team. If a technocrat, technologically efficient team is not behind any kind of project, there is nobody who can say this project is developed by some architect, this project is developed by some engineer. It's always a teamwork. And that should prevail. That is our demand only. Thank you. Thank you.
So I agree with you. Every project,
Thank you, Ajit ji.
whether it's a developer oriented or it is a government oriented project or it is a private sector or development, obviously the synchronizing of all the professionals working into a project will become important. But what are we trying to flag off today? What we are trying to say is really several aspects of the same engineering, namely what is statutory, what is liability, what is responsibility, what should be the front end of the matter. And that is why if you start writing it down in terms of what you want in the Engineering Act, these matters will anyway spring up. Because you will see that in the Architects Act also, there is a disciplinary action taken for people who don't perform. There is also in the Chartered Accountants Act, disciplinary issues about what is done. So this will automatically flow from that. The second part, which you mentioned, is of course a different matter completely. Here, the engineers themselves will have to progressively demand better quality of work. And they will have to work onto it. We will have to represent to government that we are not happy with the L1 positions that you are doing. There must be those who are not good quality contractors should not be taken. And we have represented in many cases, and we have managed to get it done. I've been working with a very large temple in Udaipur, Nathdwara, Udaipur, where we had to make a building. And we disagreed, and I'm a trustee on that board for the last 14 years. And I said, I can't take the L1 contractor because he's not got the capability or capacity of doing this. And whatever he has shown is on paper, but it actually has not been done in any quality. So I was able to convince my board of trustees in order to do so. But it was like a single man's mission to do so. But what we really need to do is to say, what is going wrong with the projects in India? Whether they are government projects, whether they are private sector projects, it doesn't matter. Whether it is local authority projects, it doesn't matter. What is the engineering? What do the engineers have to say of how we can rectify this situation? We have to assist the government in order to go in the right direction. Remember, almost 33 to 40% of all engineering, civil engineering works is directly or indirectly related to government, state government, central government, local authority, PSUs. All these undertakings are carrying out this work. So they have a very important role. And if we can actually guide the government and say, this is not working and we do need to make the quality, let's look at what has happened in China. Why is it that the quality is so good? Why is it that Dubai has a good quality work? Why is it that Singapore, the work buildings are not bad or the roads are not bad or all these things? So I think what you're saying is absolutely correct. But we simultaneously need to come out with solutions on things which we have not talked about for 70 years. Unfortunately, we have never told the government how to make a good road. And we as engineers want a good road. We as engineers do not want second-rate government building. Even government buildings should be class 1 buildings and should compete with a Hiranandani building or any other building. And when the government wants to do so, they can do it. Let's take the Reserve Bank of India building. When that was made, the kind of requirements in terms of the buildings were quite different. Look at the Sayadri guest house made by the PWD Department of the Government of Maharashtra. They totally said that we will only shortlist certain contractors which have actually done quality work. And I think we need to actually, what should I say? The right word is educate the government, educate the people, educate them. Come on TV, come on online platforms, say what we need to do in terms of it. Why is it that Mumbai roads are bad? What is it that I remember when we had suggested 30 years ago, 35 years ago maybe, there was Mr. Tinekar was the municipal commissioner of Mumbai, and we suggested to him that you need to make concrete roads. And there was a huge opposition among the engineers saying that how can we make concrete roads? Because every time we have to excavate the road to do services. Over a period of time, this was started, and of course, many of the concrete roads. Take the case of Mumbai-Pune road. It is the first greenfield concrete road in India. I repeat, it's the first greenfield concrete road in India. And I remember I was a part of the advisory board, which was there in Manoj Joshi's government, when I was a part of that committee, when the chief engineer there and Mr. Tambe was the secretary PWD, he said, no, we can't make a greenfield road because it is likely to sink and the concrete will crack. And I said, nothing doing. Mr. Tambe is a very honest person, but he's keeping his scope for future engineers to make money on redoing this road. Fortunately, out of 169 kilometers in the last, 20 years that have passed, only 2 kilometers have cracked out of 169. Can you imagine if every 3 years we would have opened up this road and done that concrete road? And today, of course, a large number of national highways are there. Now, if we can continue to give suggestions like this to government, which proactively will provide long-term sustainability to quality, long-term sustainability to improve, whatever is the work done by them, also to advise private builders, private people who are actually doing the work as to what is the meaning of good quality work and why quality is necessary in terms of sustainability. Because it's not only strength of a structure, as you know very well, it's also the longevity there is there. Bad cement was used, and many of the buildings required to be redone in 20, 25, 30 years. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, concrete structures should at least go for 70 to 100 years minimum, even in high precipitation areas like the Konkan region and others. But nobody is here to say, how can we do it so as to make it there? So we also owe a responsibility as an engineering fraternity to work out and suggest better methods of improving quality across the board, including government contracts. And the right person you have is Mr. Hardeep Puri in housing and PWD, and Mr. Gadkari at the, in terms of the, if you can utilize the good offices of these people, I promise you that engineering fraternity will come back in terms of the prestige position that you should enjoy in terms of doing it. And of course, you mentioned about coordination with architects and other agencies. Of course, that's a given, and we must do it.
Thank you, sir. Raghavan, sir.
Yeah.
Niranjan ji, are you?
Good morning, Manodal, sir.
Yeah.
Very much encouraging speech by Niranjan ji. We all are expecting your support in our bill and other this one implementing this NPC in all states. So thank you, Niranjan ji.
Anil Joseph.
Yeah.
President
Good morning, Niranjan sir. It was a very encouraging lecture, and it is something which is essentially we lack, because we don't have role models now. We are missing role models in engineering, And primary reason is that engineering is not given importance. So what happens? There has to be accountability. So that is why we request your support to get the engineers bill in the parliament, so that who is accountable? Because now Tom, Dick and Harry can do the job and get away with that. So there has to be accountability in that. And unless you are accountable for that, your signature gets value, and that dignify that your prestige increase. And then you're proud to say that I have done that. And especially you have done so much of marvelous works across the country. And now with this RERA having 5 years guarantee coming in, we have to have the accountability put in not only to the engineers or not only to the structural engineer, the construction engineer on the record who is doing the job, geotechnical engineer on the record who is doing the job, fire and safety engineer has to be put into task, architect, though it is only connected with the aesthetic and the other aspects, but they also has to be accountable to the service they have to give. So like it was pointed out by Vinay Gupta ji, it's a teamwork. The team has to be put into accountable, and this has to come through the good officers of QS with the support of the ministry. We shall to bring in so that we will have safe and sound structures for the future. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us today and enlightening us. And we wish that it will be a productive thing, and we will be able to come out with the engineers bill, which we lack very badly. And more importantly, our education system will also improve once we have the power and responsibility on our shoulders, which our seniors forgot to take it up, and we have to start taking it up and be a role model to the future generation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
Anil.
you very much. I want to say something. What you said is very important, and I missed it. I'm so sorry. The most important thing is that our engineers do not have practical experience when they come to my site. So a gold medalist doesn't know how to build a building or make a road when he comes and joins my company. So every engineer compulsorily, before he is qualified, completes his qualification, must do internship. You must represent, irrespective of the engineering law that is you want to bring in. You must insist on AICTE to provide for compulsory internship on sites and others if he wants to be an engineer who supervises a project, because this is nonsensical. When I'm a chartered accountant, I've done 2.5 years of internship. If I'm a doctor, I've done not only medical college when attending the hospital, but internship for 1 year after that. But our engineers are not required to do that. And I think that is something which is absolutely imperative. I'm actually quite happy that you raised the point about the education part. And I think there's a number 2 issue. We need continuing education. The engineering fraternity must conduct classes for the purposes of giving knowledge to people who are running the sites, people who are doing roads, people who are doing that. And similar to what chartered accountants do, I've attended dozens of webinars of chartered accountants where they come and ask me to speak on various subjects. But engineers should also be conducting these webinars where they will teach all these people who are there. And maybe those engineers who are in practice, similar to what chartered accountants have, require that they must attend 20 hours per year of continuing education as a compulsory in order to continue the certificate. I'm just giving a suggestion. You, of course, will be able to crystallize this better, because I find the lack of continuing education in the engineering fraternity a lacuna, which is not there in medicine, which is not there in chartered accountancy, and I don't know about architecture.
Thank you, sir. Raghunandan, sir.
Yeah. Good morning, Niranjan ji. In fact, in your initial remarks on this, you have given a very assurance for the passing of engineering bill, your support you have rendered. So in the same session, you have been talking about, even now in the previous one, you have been talking about the quality or the deterioration of quality of the civil engineers at site. So I would like to clarify some of the points here, sir. And in fact, you have been comparing with the medical professional when you are speaking on that. So as on date, or as per 2019, we have 70,978 medical seats in India. in about 529 colleges. And we have 14.66 lakhs engineering seats in India, out of which at least about 15% may be civil engineers. So take it, around 2 lakh civil engineers coming out of the engineering colleges every year. So apart from the civil engineers, we have the diploma courses who are there mainly at the construction site to take care of the supervision of this. So that is a variation. In fact, people who choose civil engineering in the last 15 or 20 years are people who doesn't get admission into the software courses or the high profile courses, whom they call it as, or white collar jobs. So those people are coming. Yes, we do agree that there is a deterioration of the quality of civil engineers, like any other engineering professional, like mechanic. Even when I talk to the other people, mechanical, electrical, they also reflect the same thing. The quality of the engineers, what they get, is really low compared to the previous years. But the people who come into the practicing engineering fraternity, in fact, why they choose the practicing engineers, definitely they assume they have the required quality experience to really render the consultancy to the projects what they undertake. They are incomparable or even more capable than the architect fraternity in the country, sir. So this I like to submit to you that yes, practicing engineers are the people who you will be dealing directly along with the architects. The construction sites, yes, there is a quality which every association is taking steps to improve their quality of the supervision by conducting seminars, by conducting workshops for each and everything, every association. But there is no conglomeration of engineering associations in India. That is the reason for which the engineering bill has become a necessity to implement. So we'd like to just submit these points to you, sir, for your consideration. Thank you, sir.
I'm with you on the first part that we do need the engineering bill to be done. But it is like this. Would you like to have on your own building, if you are constructing a building, an engineer who may be an engineer by qualified, but has no exposure whatsoever to a construction site before he came to your site and he was required to supervise it? I'm not saying about the qualification. You may be a qualified engineer, but if you have to go on a construction site and do it, unless you have not gone through this internship period, you should not get a certificate of practice of supervision. You cannot attend a patient unless you have gone through internship. You can go to a medical college and assist anybody at that level and see the patients, but not do it. So similarly, you may have 4 lakh or 40 lakh civil engineers. I'm not interested. But that one engineer who comes to my site must have had at least 6 months of engineering experience on the sites in order to do so. And he must be given certificate to that. If you do that, then the reputation of engineers will go up, not only professional like you, who are respected. So I'm only suggesting, and of course this is for consideration of the engineering fraternity, that practical experience, person devoid with practical experiences are put on sites who actually do not all learn, who are not able to put best practices on the site. You are an exception to the rule, but remember, lakhs of such engineers who are certified as engineers, people look at those engineers who are there, and they may be coming from the last fraternity or whatever it is, but ultimately they are engineers similar to other people being doctors. So I do feel that practical experience attached to an engineering degree before a person is put on the site is extremely important to consider. Of course, you are the better judge to take a decision as together with the rest of the engineering fraternity. You are the best persons to give this advice. I'm just giving you the example of my personal experience of people who lack experience and they learn on the sites and it is not good enough. But if they are mentored by other civil engineers with the experience of internship on the sites, then they automatically become good engineers because even the mentors want to teach them. But thank you for the suggestion, and I'm certainly supportive on the engineering bill.
Rajiv Gogia ji.
Yes. Mr. Hiranandani has given a very good overview.
Not audible, sir. Little louder.
Hello? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
You hear me now? Okay. Mr. Hiranandani has given a very good overview of what he thinks about the current crop of engineers. And some of his ideas are actually ahead of our present time. You know, thoughts like the fact that we should be approving project and corporations should only audit the plans or the designs. Those will take a little. I would like to say one thing that if most of the buildings of builders are supposed to be as per National Building Code, and in the National Building Code, safety is paramount. So any building made as per the National Building Code, project leader has to take responsibility for its safety. That is something we have to keep in mind. That is, you see, moreover now with RERA, the developers have to give an accountability chart also. So there also the listing has to be done as to what is the accountability of different fields of activity which has been taken up. And there we would like to see which are the aspects for which the architects are held responsible by the developers. What is the guarantee they are giving for the next 5 or 10 years? He mentioned few points about the continuing education courses. I would like to state that a lot of engineering associations are holding continuing education courses and webinars on special topics. That's an ongoing phenomena which has been there from last 30-40 years. Probably it has not percolated to the general public, but we are already on the job. Then the other part was about some gold medalists being ready to start work on the job. The point, what has happened over the last 30-40 years is that there are so many people going into engineering, and out of that, almost 50% of them don't continue with their stream. So for them to get the training also and then get the certification, that training itself will also be going waste because they are already changing the stream as soon as they pass out. I would be happy if we, and in fact, the process has also already started. AICT has already asked for this training module of about 6 months or so. And that needs to be pursued probably only by those who wish to continue to remain in the stream. Otherwise, it is difficult to create opportunities for the training in the system itself. So those are some of the points I wanted to highlight.
Thank you, sir. Sir.
No, I think you're correct. But I agree with you. If the person doesn't want to practice engineering, then he should not do the internship. So a doctor which doesn't want to practice doesn't have to do internship. There is no requirement for him to do internship if he doesn't want to practice. The chartered accountant who doesn't want to practice, if he just passes the examination, cannot get a certificate of practice. So if an engineering fraternity also puts the same condition, it's okay. I think you're absolutely right. If you're saying that they're just taking qualifications for the sake of qualification, then it's okay. But I'm saying the person who comes to my work site, he better be having some practice under some internship or training. So I agree with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Chalpatra, sir, would you like to add any points before we conclude?
No, I think the overall the purpose of the seminar is to see that the Engineers Act comes up. So you have to really work as a team at all India level, whoever is a committee or maybe there are separate different associations. So just like, you know, we at the national level in the real estate, it is very much known that NAREDCO and CREDAI, they hold the most important sort of receptions at the government. So you also have to put in such an effort so that, you know, the bills becomes a reality. Absolutely correct. When when anybody wants prominence, then he has to take the responsibility for the work he is doing. So definitely, you should come up with such some sort of a compliances which you have to adhere to, so that the profession goes up and the country builds quality. I wish you in your effort all the success. Thanking you.
Thank you very much, sir. I will sum up Niranjan ji's speech, whatever he has given, really encouraging for all the engineers. In fact, he mentioned that as part of ease of doing business, the government should empower engineers in giving the permissions while giving the accountability to the engineers. And also, engineers should strive to get into politics to get the lawmakers or get the lawmakers to influence and get it done. And the quality of engineering has to be improved, which we are sure will happen once Engineers Act comes into play. And awards to encourage good quality will also motivate the engineers to be better engineers. And also the pride of engineering has to be enhanced by the engineers, which we are attempting to do through this kind of forum now. And also the sustainability aspects of the construction are important. And points like internship, continuing professional development, the need for them is stressed. And in the engineers bill proposed, actually the CPD score, though as Gogiaji said, we are having the these continuing professional development by association. This is not a necessity as per law, but once Engineers Act comes into place, then the CPD score at present being followed is 50 hours of CPD every year will be a requirement for engineers in various disciplines. And last but most important, I would like to request chief guest and guest of honor today that we should come up with SOP in every construction project, from small, medium, micro, or even large projects. So I request NAREDCO to incorporate SOPs wherein the role of engineers, this is mentioned by our Rajit Faujdar also. There are so many disciplines of engineering, and we should define the role, scope, and responsibility of various engineering disciplines in the SOP, starting from concept, planning, design, and project management, and finally the facility management. So I request you to confirm on that, and we'll conclude your.
Yeah, most welcome. Please send it to me. We will see to it that it is taken up both at the NAREDCO level, at the government level. We'll certainly do all that. I'll be happy to do it for you, but I will be happy to do it for this country, because we do need good engineering. And I'm so happy to meet all of you this morning because of the proactive attitude of all the senior people of the profession. I must congratulate each and every one of you for thinking forward as to what we need to do in the engineering fraternity. And remember one thing, that this is going to be an extremely important role, that it will be a mind-blowing change that you will be doing. I think it will be historical if we can achieve what you are doing and saying. I think congratulations to you and the entire team of people who is here this morning. I wish you all the best, and I'm with you all the time.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Chalpatrao ji, for joining us today. And I would like Rajvinder Singh ji, if you have any point to say. We missed you in the beginning.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Niranjan ji, for such a wonderful speech and the suggestions he has given. We should be responsible for our work, as he have rightly said. And as far as the training of students is concerned, AICT has altogether scrapped this 6 months training. Only 45 days training after second semester and some 2 months training after fourth semester is there. And the syllabus is such that even students do not know how to prepare prepare an estimate, or even they are not taught how to calculate the load. In the question, simply load is given and they have to check the safety only. And once they are in the field, they don't know how to calculate the load of the structure. So such is the condition of our education, engineering education, and until and unless it is improved, we cannot have good engineers.
Thank
we
you.
must have something, such things should be told to AICT to improve the quality of syllabus. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Srikant ji?
Thank you.
Srikant ji,
Sir.
on behalf of ACCE.
Good morning to everyone. I actually, incidentally, I joined here, and our Ashwath sir representative as this thing is requested. Thank you very much. See, so far, what has happened is the cosmetic part of the building is taking over by all the orthopedic, maybe nephro, maybe the all other organs of the body will be taken care by only the cosmetic person. This should stop. And everybody is equally responsible. The responsibility should be put properly. The responsibility will come only when there is a proper registration, there is a proper accountability put on them. So with this regard, we are struggling hard to pass this bill, and our Mr. Hiranandani, a great personality in our field. He has done a lot of wonders in the building area, and with his support, we will try to achieve this. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Srikant. Anybody else who wants to say final word? We are concluding now. So we thank Hiranandani ji for joining this morning meeting out of his valuable time on Sunday. Thank you very much, sir, for joining and giving us real reassuring words. We are very happy with your assurance, and you promised to support us with the government, with ASSOCHAM, with CII, with CREDAI also working together. So really, it's good, and we will come up with SOP and we'll submit to you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Chalpati Rao garu, for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I request presidents to stay back to discuss on action plan on the points. So any points to be discussed, we are open now. The chief guest and guest of honor have left. So
I have a point, Surya Prakash ji.
Yes, sir.
Last time I requested that there was a Council of Architecture that be aware of the quacks and all the notifications.
Notice, yeah.
Because unless and until we counter it, in the public eye, our morale will be really, suffering. We have to counter it. So for that purpose, I had requested if any member knows how it has appeared, whether it is only through the their web or
I think Ajit.
Anybody knows
it has come
about
in newspapers. It has come in newspapers. Ajit, I think we have it in EAG group or somewhere I have seen. Has anybody? If anybody finds it, you can share it to in PPEG group. Srikant, you are in the PPEG group, no?
Yeah, I am.
So we'll share it in the PPEG. Shashikant, you have? Do you have with you the?
Sir, which one, sir?
Oh God.
Hello.
The notice by architects, quacks in practice. That is the thing.
No, sir. I have the notice. The problem is where it has appeared. That is what I want to know.
Oh, okay. That I think we have to check. We have to do some research.
Copy we have, source we want.
Okay. We'll do it, sir.
Sir, can I just come in for a second?
Yeah, Girish.
Yeah. Srikanji, you have prepared a very good draft as a counter to this. But I think a little bit of flow has to be focused onto that. Probably I can take it offline with you. The flow has to be such that this has to be captured even by a non-technical person. The government or whoever will be reading that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
In fact, we should all start sharing that notice in the social media. That itself will be reaching more people than, in fact, today I shared the notice prepared by ACCA. In LinkedIn, I have 13,000 connections, and Facebook, I have 12,000 followers, and WhatsApp and Telegram, I have about 15,000 people. So I shared in these groups. That itself will reach. If we advertise a small notice in newspaper, we are not sure how many people will even look at it nowadays. The print media has lost its sheen nowadays. So maybe social media, we can continue to do it. Request all the panelists, all the members in this group. We have very active members, Raja from Chennai and Tamil Selvan from Chennai. All these people, youngsters should promote this notice in the social media. So actually, social media is more powerful than print media, and it is at no cost. So it costs our time of sharing in 5 minutes in all the channels like Twitter. I request all of you to be on Twitter. Open a Twitter account, and in Twitter we can tag any of the politicians, minister, and it will go to their group actually. So Twitter is a powerful medium. LinkedIn will reach all the professionals, and Facebook also. I am keeping on messaging all the politicians in Facebook in their messenger. At least if 100 messages go, they will look at it once. There is something serious like that. So I request all the presidents through their association members to reach out to all the social media platforms. Telegram, yeah.
Sir, what I suggest is that since we have got numerous associations like ISTT, Institute of Engineers, ACC, I think we can request all these institutions to put that letter on their website as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Whoever goes there, that new tab will be there, and in that they can see this matter. Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to suggest something.
Yeah.
Hello.
SP, if we can request all the presidents to write to the municipal corporations, because unless the bylaws over there,
yeah.
Otherwise, if we say if we try to counter these kind of advertisements, it will be an uphill task. But if we get the bylaws changed, then it will make much more headway. It will be easier to handle this situation.
In fact,
we are already doing it.
No, I request all the presidents to write letters, because I have posted the email IDs of all the urban and urban local bodies and commissioners and ministers of urban development. Please use that mail IDs which I have shared in both the PPEG and President's group. And letter also, draft of the letter is posted in Word format, particularly because you can put your association logo and a signature and send it to these email IDs. Because nowadays, this another 2-3 weeks at least, post and courier are not dependable. So it is good to send by email. First, let us send by email. Then once this restore, we can send hard copies also.
No, from Bangalore Center, we are doing it very meticulously. We have sent to all the places in North Karnataka, all district places and taluka places, and most of the centers have responded very positively, and some of them have already submitted to the respective municipal heads.
That's nice. You can share that email IDs in the group, Srikant, so that every president can send it.
Yes,
yeah.
So I just shared COA, their public notice to the PPEG. It is taken from the COA website that they published and through the social media. I don't know which newspaper it comes. And the message which ACC has sent, I think you have cut off the head, letterhead. In your message, which you have forwarded today, we have the ACC letterhead. Is it not better if we have some letterhead in which if this goes to the...
No, it was with the letterhead only, sir. We have sent it.
I have sent it again. We all got it. What Surya Prakash has shared is without the letterhead, I believe. So I don't know.
Probably the one I copied.
Yeah, probably.
Have had, please reshare it.
I will do it. I will do it.
Ashwat, it can be shared with the letterhead so that it can reach with the letterhead, so that it will have more validity and relevance.
That's good. Good suggestion, Raghunath. Any other points, sir, from other panelists?
Sir, from Federation of Tamil Nadu.
Yeah.
We planned in person. We are meeting every MPs. So, so
that's
the 2 MPs who have given memorandum, they have fully promised to support the bill. See, on behalf of bill, I have to ask some question. See, is it the draft is ready?
Yeah, first draft was submitted to the AICTE. It was circulated, and with the final draft not yet is there.
Okay. So can you incorporate the diploma in any cadre?
I think I have clarified to Shashikant also. At this stage, engineers bill itself is a tough task actually. Engineers bill will authorize Indian Council of Engineers to draft the guidelines for each discipline, because at the higher level it is difficult. You know, you have diploma in mechanical, diploma in computers, diploma in all the disciplines, civil engineering and all. So council will authorize respective disciplines to take decisions on the competence which is like already there in the National Building Code, particularly for our civil engineers. And those associations or institutions can take decision on authorizing diploma civil engineers.
So why I am asking is our federation is near about 50% of diploma engineers holders.
Yeah, definitely.
No, we have to include the diploma holders part of our this thing. There is no doubt about it.
Yeah.
However, the time has to come for that, you know, for the giving the suggestion and objections. At that time, we can include.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Shashikant.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. No, you have to, I mean, you are getting echo here. You cannot, you have to adjust your audio.
Adjust it, sir. Now is it okay?
No, it's very difficult. Yeah. Alokji, you have something to say?
Yeah, I think the point which was mentioned by Raghavanji about the diploma holders and all, I would feel that we should not lose focus at this stage. We should focus on getting the engineer's bill. And as you mentioned, we can get into those nitty-gritties later. Once the structure of the bill is there, after that, you know, the qualification part can be dealt with later. At this stage, we should have a pointed focus on getting the bill A and also dealing with the Council of Architecture.
Yeah.
And I would fully agree with the views expressed that I think we should use the social media as much as possible. And in fact, we have to defeat their designs in every possible way. We have to get into, you know, whatever advertisements they give, and we have to penetrate their own social media and sort of write our comments wherever possible. Let us use this, because this does not take time and money.
Correct.
Okay. Sorry to comment. I have few suggestions here. Like a lot of our distinguished fraternity members in civil engineering have done fantastic structures. So 2 things. One is that as a 2-pager, like for example, if you go to any US university, the professors post normally in the background of the works they have done, maybe in the lab or something like that. Likewise, if it is a technical write-up or if it's a text, probably a 2-page text with a photograph of the civil engineer, and ultimately it should end with a very, very promising sentence that civil engineers have contributed significantly and will continue to contribute as a vital component of the society. That is in the print. Likewise, 2-minute video, maybe 1.5 minutes of video, wherein, you know, ultimately it should end with the same tagline. This is to drive home the point that civil engineers constitute a substantial portion of society's activities. This is where we can regain the respect. I think this is very vital. Video and text. This in brief, because people don't have time today to look at the matter. So I think kindly consider this. In individual capacity also you can make. It will help your business enterprises individually. It will help the fraternity to project ourselves. Thank you.
You are muted, Surya Prakash ji. You are muted. Kindly unmute yourself.
Deepak ji,
Yeah.
we didn't hear to you today.
I was just looking at the comments made by Alok Bhaumik ji on WhatsApp.
Okay.
Yeah, how to counter this publication of the Farzi architects.
And I think very effectively done. If you now look at, we have scores of people commented, and I think.
But sir, in the process, we should not make him popular.
Surya Prakash sir, I have a suggestion regarding COA amendment. Is there a chance that using some of our well-wishers in the architecture fraternity, can they drive home the point to these people that what they're doing is illogical and unjust from equity and justice? Because one thing is, of course, we need to keep a hawk's eye on ensuring these people don't sneak out an amendment through an act or something like that. But having said that, because I know a lot of architects are also not for having this predatory instinct on civil engineers. So can somebody take this initiative through their good contacts in Council of Architecture and say, Baba, you bunch of small pocket of architects are bringing it across the entire fraternity of architects. It is not against architects and civil engineers. It is against your mindsets. It is not what it should be. So something like that.
Yeah, I think this is a very good point, Girish ji. I fully agree with you. I think this is another way to counter it, and I think this is what we should do. Our representative from the Institution of Engineers, who is going to be there in the CUA panel, I think he should drive home this point. I mean, he's our representative there.
Yeah.
But we should be careful. Sir, we should be careful because our representative on the Council of Architecture should not be. I'm sorry. Our representative or civil engineer on the Council of Architecture board should not be outnumbered 2:18, 2:16, things like that. But having said that, even with that minority number, I think we can make a good point like Alok Bhaumik ji said. Thank you for that, sir.
Thank you. Any other points? Sir, I have
Surya sir, this one more webinar won't be complete. Why we are always trying to counter their efforts? Why aren't we launching our attacks towards them? So let us conclude with a 3-4 members team and give us a week's time so that we can plan and design something to attack them rather to counter them always. We should have some working team over there. Otherwise, this won't be successful. These kind of webinars, if not giving some target-oriented job to some of us.
Yeah.
This is my APGC
Ajit,
perspective.
Ajit, we are not able to see you. We heard you, but we didn't see you. Yeah.
I'm here only.
Yeah.
I agree. This countering business is, keeps us in the background. We have to go into the other attacking.
Yeah. Why are we always countering them?
Yes, that is defensive. Nothing is going to work in that fashion. We have to get on the offensive.
And till the time there is some few member committee, this won't be done in a proper fashion.
Yes, because everybody is depending on others to do it, and that other never happens.
I request all the presidents to formulate a committee. Suggest a committee.
Yeah, I think that's a good suggestion.
We actually
but that should be kind of monitored one through the headquarters or the engineering forum. That won't be somebody make something and let it away.
No, that's what I'm saying.
That we have to take care of.
We have a president's group in which all presidents are there. We have a PPEG group where we have representation from all the states and regions are there. We have about 50 people. So these two groups can monitor the committee, whichever is identified by the presidents in this group actually. You can nominate like Ajit, you can nominate one from APGC and already Srikanth is here, for example. from
Each
ACC.
president nominate one. His
Surya
remote
sir, that is the only way I was telling that some PR agency is required because they have their own perspective to look into the matters.
Correct.
We are technocrats. We are not very sound into all these things. What will attack the masses?
Sir, once we go to any PR agency, we should have a budget of 50 lakhs to 60 lakhs.
Vijayji was saying that I'll handle it. He is not here today.
Who? Vijay?
Vijay
Yeah.
Sanap?
Yeah, he didn't join today. I don't know. Vijay? Vijay Sanap, are you there? Please.
We can speak to him in the evening. We
Yeah.
can speak to him after the meeting. And then we can try to coordinate something.
In fact, if we engage any PR agency, it should be at national level, not state level or local level. So I have engaged earlier national level PR agency. Their retainership will be itself 1 to 2 lakhs per month. And then collaterals and all that, they will be doing press meets and circulation, which will cost about 5 to 6 lakhs per month. So we should keep that budget. Otherwise, there is no point in engaging PR. That's why I have been stressing. To begin with, we'll do with social media. We are 25 lakh engineers actually. We should connect with engineers first. Then imagine the power of 2.5 million engineers sharing one notice or anything. That will be very powerful.
So that my purpose is not to engage some 25-50 lakh PR agency. My sole purpose is to engage some local agency who can do the SMS job for us, who can do the WhatsApp propagation job for us. That is my motto to say.
No, that's fine. If
because
you come
they
up,
have their own softwares, they can propagate the things.
So Ajit,
And to
definitely.
make these animations and clippets, we need to hire some local agency.
That's a good thing. Actually, I suggest you and Vijay work out proposal, and we can discuss in our group. We can have a separate Zoom meeting for discussing this and finalizing action plan and launching it.
I'll talk to Vijay in the evening,
Yeah.
definitely, and we'll
And
talk.
we'll have a meeting on Wednesday, 4 p.m. as always decided. We decided last
Okay.
meeting every Wednesday we'll have core group meeting.
Surya Prakash, sir, relevant to this, as I was just mentioning this morning on our common group, that is it possible to have a database, because now we are members of various other institutes also. So can all the institutes come out with a very common sort of an Excel sheet starting with the Aadhaar number, name of the member, what is his qualification, date of birth, where he is presently working, and where he is from. This is all, no address, nothing, so that the data is also secure, because we need to know how many practicing civil engineers are there, and we do not have one common database which captures all the civil engineers across the country. Probably if at least right now to form one particular body for this may be a Herculean task, but in a run up to that, if we can have a common sort of a format, an Excel format, where your respective institutes like ACC or Insta, they can start putting the names of that members, and if they don't have the Aadhaar number should be the lead, because in Aadhaar number you can put a filter and ensure that even 4 memberships are belonging to one person. If not, there is no way we can link multiple membership to one person. So we can come up with a very simple Excel format where even an office assistant will be able to collate at the institution level, association
That's
level.
a good suggestion, Girish. Actually, we should request the Institution of Engineers to take lead in that, because the Institution of Engineers have maximum number of members, whether it is associate membership or corporate membership. And from that list, we can add new members. List
Good point, sir.
automatically.
While we wait for Institution of Engineers to take that initiative, back home as a homework, all the associations can be ready with this data. And the moment it comes, it's just one email which is shot off and everything falls. And there is no need of collating because the email is the same. You just
Actually,
don't add it, that's it.
ACC is already doing it. Task force, thing. We probably every association can follow the same format, and then we can combine all the database of all the associations, and then eliminate the duplicacy, so that we have the unique number. CEV can also follow Rajvinder ji.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We will definitely do this.
Yeah, please, already ACC appeal is there. You can use that and extend it to your members. And ICI comes next actually. ICI has got 12,000 membership actually. So ICI, Vinay ji also we can request, and Institution of Engineers is there. So it will be a good exercise. We can work on it. Like every president, if they are working, and IS Taki and all the associations for that matter, we should request them to do it. Ajit and
Surya Prakash ji, I have got a small suggestion.
Yeah.
If by chance if they are unable to do that, or if any problem is there, all the members can directly respond to this ACC membership itself at one place. It will be collected.
Exactly. That's also fine. That is also fine. Already Google form is there. Just share the Google form with your members. Raghavan sir, you can do that probably with all your associations in Tamil.
We are having already Google form application in our facet. Everybody is submitting their details in there.
Very
also,
nice.
we have details from last 12 years.
Oh, very nice.
For the advertising part, I suggest we should try to convince Institution of Engineers. They have to take out the ads because then it will have great impact.
That's right.
But Shrikantji, kindly make sure that this Google form data is very secure. It doesn't go into wrong hands. Okay? So make sure that data is now one of the most powerful tools, much more powerful than nuclear weapons. So please ensure that this data is highly secure and it has to be controlled not at some office assistant level. It has to be controlled only by authorized office bearer. Okay, at a very senior position, maybe 2 or 3, and that's it. Kindly ensure that. Thank you.
Okay.
So thank you, sir. We'll conclude meeting with your permission. If you don't have, or if you have any points, you can mention.
Sir, there is a order of Kerala High Court in which civil engineers do not need to register with local authority and not to pay.
Not audible.
If any copy of that order.
Not audible, sir. You have to be loud.
Sir, there is a order of Kerala High Court in which it is said that civil engineers do not need to register with local authorities and they do not need to pay any fee. If someone have this order, can he send it in WhatsApp?
You don't need a high court order. UP government has done it. Our APGC has got that GO. And similar, Andhra Pradesh it is there. Tamil Nadu it is there, and Kerala. We will request Anil Joseph to share for you. You can put a message in our president's group.
Sir, in our Punjab, Pudda Punjab Urban Development Authority, they have accepted this.
Oh,
but
okay.
Local government, as far as corporation is concerned, they are not accepting.
So you can take it up with Urban Development Principal Secretary, sir.
We are taking up, but they are not considering this.
Sir,
they need the orders.
Yeah, we can share that. Anil Joseph in the president's group can help you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Surya sir, again about this public notice issued by ACC.
Yeah.
I think there's some legal advice is required because I am seeing some words which might hit back to us.
Oh.
So there's a separate meeting, I hope so, is required for it.
Srikant.
Yeah, listening.
Please check with some legal. Anish Dayal probably can help us. Alok Baumik can, or Raju Gogia ji can help us by referring this notice to Anish Dayal ji.
Because in my superficial reading now, we are putting up beware of quacks misinterpreting so and so. And in that body itself, we are mentioning the architects. So kindly see to it.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
Deepak ji.
Yeah. Today, I just want to point out, today we were less than three digit figure.
No problem, sir.
No. What I want to say that with so much their Telegram, we are more than 5,000.
Yeah, I didn't share in Telegram today purposefully.
Okay, no, I think your notice was there. Anyway, so today's meeting notice was there. Anyway, what I mean to say that if you see that somehow the momentum is losing, then we must have to find out the ways, because we can't let it cool down like this.
In fact, sir, we are not cooled down. In fact, I feel today we are the strongest. I would say, because you see the assurance of Niranjan.
Engineers webinars.
I don't know, some people. We are. We have the assurance from Naredco, engineer Niranjan ji. We have driven the point, and now we have to follow it up. Both Credai and Naredco, we have got the assurance, and we have got assurance from Ayodhya Ram Reddy. And so let us not worry about how many are participating in this. Our interest is to get assurance from them. From each one of these heads, I request all of you to put efforts to connect with influential people in our sector, so that we'll be able to convince them and take assurance. It's on record for us now. So we are creating the database of assurances, and we'll use it for future any application actually.
Okay, good.
Okay. Raju bhai.
That's good. In fact, now, like, if when you invite less people for the seminar, you should say in the beginning itself that this is a closed group kind of meeting, so that even if the visitor tries to see how many participants there are, he will be told that it's a closed group, because that is our intent also. Otherwise, you will have too many questions, and it will be difficult to handle.
Yeah.
And that thing about assurances, that is the main. This whole operation is meant for that itself. It's the thinking which we are trying to percolate. That thinking has to percolate to those offices.
Yeah. So thank you, sir. I'll conclude the meeting. I think we had a good interaction. And core committee meeting will be on Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye. I will stay back because I have to take feedback backup, question and answers, and this will be available on Facebook.